Welcome Wednesday to Metallarian Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about Wednesday 13, this new album Meet Death Crisis, and more things related to the metal, well, to the rock and metal in general. So we are starting by asking, how are you doing today? How did the last band during the last couple of years? Because your previous album, Horrifier, was released 3 years ago.
hmm I've been busy, busy, busy since the last record. Just making music, touring has been nonstop for me for a very long time now. So with this new record, I'm out again right now. I'm on tour. I'm on my tour bus right now, and we're in 30 shows into this tour. So we've been out for a while, and I just stay busy. This is what I do. It's all I know.
Okay. Okay. So I'm talking about for this mid-death crisis. When do you decide to start writing songs for this new album? It was after the Horrifier was released, or perhaps during the process of composition for the previous one? Because I saw that you maintain and schedule releases albums since 3 years, 3 years, 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah. After the last record, Horrifier, I didn't want to write. I wasn't in the mood to write. And I didn't start writing for this album until last April. So basically a year ago, I started writing the first songs. So all of this was created within just three and a half months. All the music on this record, I wrote it within 3 months and took it into the studio. So yeah, it was all new, except for one or two ideas or riffs that kind of were from before that I used. But overall, it was created pretty quick, and that's kind of how I do stuff. I don't need to spend a long time recording something. For me, fast and quick is how it you get the best results that way.
Hmm. Okay, okay. So now, well, you start the band? You start the band in 2004. Now this is more than 20 years that the band exists. Obviously, you started your career in the 90s, but you decided to create your first album at the beginning of 2000. I remember very well Transylvania because it was a great album. At that moment, you were with Rotterdam Records, then changed to Nuclear Blast, and now you are with Naples Records since Horrifier. So, how
Yeah,
was the transition for all these great labels and now still working with one of the big ones, Naples Records?
I've been very fortunate to be a part of all these labels. They've all been great homes for Wednesday 13 and Murder Dolls in the past. And, I've made some really cool friends and people that are still part of my life to this day. I was just hanging with Monty Connor of Roadrunner Records on the bus just the other day, and we were talking about Murder Dolls and my first album. And just, so yeah, I've been really fortunate to be a part with these great labels, and they've always given me a home, and it's a really cool thing. So I'm really excited for this album. This is my second with Napalm, but I feel this is the strongest one for the label. I wish this would have been the first one with the label, just because I've just got a lot more spirit and drive behind me right now than I did on that last record coming out of COVID. I just didn't have what I needed to make that full impact. So this album is more like a revenge kind of, so to speak, for me.
Hmm, amazing, amazing. So for well, this now, I remember when you released your first album, and obviously I know that you born with a new wave, like Dead Stars, like Wednesday 13, other bands did the same wave. Yeah, and all these kind of bands are considered, and remember, like industrial gothic, gothic metal, gothic rock. I don't know, a lot of labels happen at that moment. So the people try to label the band, but now some people still believes that Wednesday 13 it is a it is like it is a like industrial metal, like gothic metal. Even for your presentation has this ambience like gothic, dark, this kind of topics. So for this, do you still consider it in some ways as industrial metal band, or like, because when I hear for the first time and I read interviews from you from 2005, 2006, you all the time consider that horror punk. That's the way that.
Yeah, that's more my world. Industrial, I didn't grow up on industrial music. I grew into listening to those bands, becoming friends with Skinny Puppy and Ministry, and all those bands I discovered later, but that's not my roots. My roots is hair metal and punk rock. So I know that over the years my music has experimented in those realms with industrial and keyboards and things like that, and brought in a goth element to it. So Wednesday 13 has always played with all that, all the musical territories that we can. We've never stayed in one category. So that's why we have been called goth and punk and horror punk and all that. So so for me, I don't call us anything. I've never had to tell someone. They said, "What kind of band are you?" I just go, "We're a Halloween band." They were like when our band, like when we're on a tour, we stop at a restaurant and people say, "What's the name of your band? What are you guys? What are you?" And I say, "We're a Halloween band."
Hmm.
So that's all we do. We play a lot of different stuff, but but it is cool to be in all those kind of labels as well because being that we have the punk tag that I prefer, we can play with punk bands, which is what we're doing later in the year in Germany with Calabrese and Blitzkid. And then we could go and do something like we did in Germany a few years ago at the Gothic Treffen Festival and play with a bunch of goth bands. So I can skate on both sides of this, which is always a good thing. And Wednesday 13 can fit with those bands, and then we opened for Cradle of Filth last year. So uh, we just don't really fit with one certain band, but we can fit with many.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, for me it is the same. So now all the time your lyrics or your thematic in your all albums are related with this. You said it with this Halloween stuff. So why do you lean down to this old Halloween stuff like the horror movies, horror tales? Because when I remember when I see for the first time the cover art for Mid Death Crisis, I remember the series or the comics from the Tales of the Crypt. I remember
Uh,
very well that, so I remember that. So why did you decide since the beginning to lean down to this topic of the horror topic?
it's it's natural for me. It's a lifelong thing. I mean, ever since I was a kid, I sat in front of the television and I would watch cartoons, and the cartoons would go right into the Munsters and Addams Family. I watched it. It was every day. It was normal to me. Frankenstein and Bugs Bunny were kind of my what I watched as a kid. So um, and that's just what I when I started playing music, that's what I sang about, and it's what I know. It's around me constantly. My home is I'm a collector of all this memorabilia, so I've got everything from all of these movies surrounding me all day long. Even on this tour bus, I mean, behind me there are movie posters that I hang up just so I feel like I'm at home. So this isn't just something that I just kind of like. This is my life. It's 100%. So when you when you see that cover art, to me that's just a natural thing. It's just that's just what I do. So like I said, I specialize in Halloween. That's just a natural thing for me.
Okay, okay. Now, well, talking about the promotion for this new album, Meet That Crisis, what kind of promotion do you have for this one? Oh, I know that you are right now on tour with a few there in US, so perhaps you will embark in more tours in Europe, Asia, Japan, who knows, or Latin America, who knows? What kind of plans do you have for this Meet That Crisis, or perhaps you already working on a new album? Who knows?
No, no, no. This is putting this record out on Friday, and we have a lot of tours coming up. This tour ends on May 3rd. We go home for a few weeks. We go back to UK and Europe, July 24th to August 8th. That's UK, Europe, and then we come back home for a bit, and then we're back out October, November, which we haven't announced yet, but that's going to be UK and Europe again as well. And then that ends the year. And then we're back out in the US January, February on a support tour. And then we have plans for that after that, back in Europe, Australia, Japan. So it's a worldwide tour that's going to stretch out for the next 2 years for this or for the promo. So and there's music videos to come along with that as well. as well as the concert. So busy times and good times.
Okay. Okay. Other topic about this new album. So right now, well, this album will coming out in the next in the next coming days. So, but for this, do you have time to read the reviews and how was it the reception until now for this album? Because the release date is so close, but there's right now there's a lot of people releasing reviews, opinions for the because Naples Records work like that, sending all
Yeah.
promotional stuff to do reviews, to do promotes, etc. So for you, do you have time to read the reviews for the new
Yes.
album? And how do you take the bad reviews? How we usually take a bad review for you?
I love them all. I read all the good comments. I read all the bad comments. I don't mind it. People can be cruel and people can be kind, just as equal in the social media world. Um, to get reviews by actual critics in magazines is what I prefer more than people's comments on Instagram or Facebook. So when I see a review in a magazine, I enjoy it because I know it's coming from someone who actually is a is a journalist. So it's rewarding to hear that. I mean, I put a lot of work into this record, and I know my fans like it because I see their comments, but I want to hear what the journalists think. That's always been the thing since I was a kid reading magazines, what the journalists said. And so I care about it. I want to know whether they like it or they don't like it. I want to know either or. And so far, I haven't seen a bad review on the record. Not even close to a bad review. It's been completely positive, saying that it stands up as one of the best things that I've done. So that's very good to hear from the critics. You know, and so I don't mind that stuff. I enjoy that. I work hard, and I like to have people pat me on the back sometimes.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Now, talking about now from now a little far away from Wednesday because we spoke about the lyrics. I remember very well your song "Walking with the Zombie." Great song, by the way. At that
Thank you,
moment, great
thank you,
song.
thank you.
So for that, now talking about from that era, because at that time when you release for the first time Wednesday the 13th, all that you release another band, Murder Dolls at that moment. So now, as you can see, there is a lot of revivals, a lot of bands coming back from the grave, releasing new albums, etc. So with this new overwhelming revival for all bands for 2019 or the 90s or the 80s, is there any way that for example, just an special concerts that Murder Dolls will do. Even I know that Joe is not present right now, but because for the tragic events, but for this, if there's any option that in the future Murder Dolls will play some gigs, some tours.
No, I don't think this. I mean, to do anything without Joey, it doesn't. At this moment in I can't see that working. Now, to do a tribute Joey show with former members or something like that, I would love to do that. But what I've been doing over the last 2 years is I've been playing Murder Dolls exclusive sets with Wednesday 13 and playing that music because members of my band were in Murder Dolls as well. Um, so yeah, I still very much love that band and the music of it, but to continue and call it Murder Dolls without Joey Jordison doesn't seem right to me.
Hmm. Okay, okay. Obviously you received some proposals to play just one gig with the songs for Murder Dolls, I think.
Not really. No, believe it or not, no.
Mm,
No one's really offered it. I think a lot of people think the
mhm,
same thing, and without Joey, it's not. It's it's Wednesday 13. When you
mm,
put Wednesday 13 and Joey Jordison together, it became Murder Dolls. But when it's either or, it's like so. So I don't know. I mean, but that could change in the future. Who knows? Like I said, as time goes on, people are discovering Murder Dolls for the first time. My all of the front row of my concerts are teenagers with X's on their hands because they're underage and they've been listening to the band for a year and they were a favorite band. So I think the popularity of Murder Dolls could yet to come. It could get bigger over the next 5 or 10 years as this new fan base discovers it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we are very close to this interview, Wednesday. And one thing that you can see around the world is a lot of musicians in the world are complaining now because it's not like the 80s or the 90s, especially for the expensive tour gigs. Because
Yes.
just and obviously I remember I speak with a lot of musicians and they complain about this. When a musician plays live, now you have to pay the crew, you have to pay the manager, you have to pay the label because now the label is not winning about the physical stuff. It's winning more for
Right.
the live shows and etc. And at the end, the musician is receiving all these. Oh, the payment for all this. Before you need to pay like the 20 people, and then the band will receive their rewards for the presentation for this. So on this one, how do you see now the music industry in the future? Because now the labels or the biggest capitals are more appropriating with the mute for the music, and just the musicians like the end of this line.
You know, it's constantly changing. It's always going to change. When Murder Dolls started, that was part of the end of the era where they gave big money and you had big crews and you two tour buses or whatever and $250,000 music videos. That I got to be a part of that for a short time. But over the last 20 years, so much has changed. I've learned to adapt to anything. This, how I function and run my band and crew. Right now, my band and crew is 10 people. That's more than I've ever had. And I've never had 10 people before. Uh, that's a lot for me. If that's all I get, I'm good. If I could somehow make a little more money and get a bigger bus or a few more people one day, that's good. But if I stay where I am, I'm good. And I've been able to make this work for me because of I've set my own rules. I don't, if I'm not on a record label a year from now, I'll still be able to tour like this. So I've just learned how to adapt in this business, and um, I'll be around for a long time. I
Hmm.
hope.
Okay, okay. And now one of the last questions for this one. So always Wednesday 13 has these organic sounds in all records. Because as I said, I listen your music since the beginning to now. More than 10 records in your career, and all the time you try to maintain the old stuff because you said it. You find from the hairs metal or hard rock metal from the 80s, and or for the punk from like Misfits, Ramones, etc. That's information. So, but now, as you can see, there's a lot of people, or a lot of bands, a lot of great musicians, a lot of records, great records, no mistakes, no errors on the studio. All records sounds amazing. There is right now there is a lot of standardization in the sound, especially into the metal and the hard rock stuff. All people sounds amazing in the studio. A different thing is if you sound if your sound in live presentation sounds good or bad. There's a different thing. But now all bands, all albums sounds amazing. There's not like the 80s or 90s when you find 5 records and these 5 records just 2 sounds amazing and the other 3 doesn't sound amazing at that moment. But now there's 5, 10 records. 10 records sound amazing, great musicians. So now, what's your point of view about now this standardization of the sound in general in the rock and the metal industry?
Be honest with you, I don't pay attention to much of it. I'm aware of it. I don't listen to the newer stuff. I just kind of do my own thing, and I don't know. I prefer a certain style, and the newer ways with music and movies and everything just doesn't appeal to me. So I don't know if I pay attention to it too much, or I don't let it affect me.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So, well, Wednesday, we arrived to the sad moments about this interview. I
Oh,
hope you enjoyed this interview. This last album is a great one, Mid-Death Crisis. All the
thank you,
time,
thank you.
like Decapitation, a great song, or one of the
Yeah,
songs that I love more.
yeah,
So, you have,
that'll be the next video. That's one of my favorite songs.
yeah,
Probably could have
yeah,
been the first single if I really wanted to because it's that catchy and that fun.
yeah,
It's super
enough
short.
good. Oh,
Yeah.
either way. So, San Ecstasy or In Misery, great songs, great songs. I
Thank you.
will continue
Thank you.
rolling in my head until now. Decapitation of the name.
Thank
Great.
you, man. Thank you.
So,
Very, very good.
is there anything else, Meas? Also, can you, well, perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans that expect someday in a full tour here in Latin America for the next time? Who knows? Or, and obviously, Metalerium followers.
Yeah, I just say thank you for all your support. I hope we can get there on tour. We actually talking to our agent about touring there for the first time. So yeah, hopefully we'll get there soon. And I thank everyone for all the years of support.